Born on January 29, 1945, in Detroit, Michigan, Tom Selleck's early life gave little indication that he would one day become one of television's most recognizable faces. Raised in Southern California, he grew up with a strong sense of discipline, shaped by athletics, family values, and a practical outlook on life. Tall, athletic, and naturally confident, Selleck initially focused on sports, earning a basketball scholarship to the University of Southern California, where he studied business administration. Acting was not a childhood dream, but something that emerged gradually, almost accidentally, as he explored opportunities beyond the expected path. Like many men of his generation, he also served in the California Army National Guard during the Vietnam era, an experience that reinforced responsibility and humility. These early years mattered. They formed the foundation of the man audiences would later see on screen. Steady, grounded, and quietly self-assured. Long before fame arrived, Selleck learned the value of patience, preparation, and showing up fully, lessons that would define both his career and personal life. The long road through rejection and persistence. Hollywood did not open its doors easily to Tom Selleck. Throughout the 1970s, his career was defined less by glamour than by endurance. He worked steadily, but modestly, appearing in commercials, guest television roles, and short-lived series that rarely gained traction. There were near misses and roles that slipped away, moments that could have discouraged someone less resilient. Instead, Selleck treated each setback as part of the process, refining his craft and learning the rhythms of the industry from the ground up. He developed an appreciation for work itself rather than the promise of fame, a mindset that kept him balanced during years when success felt distant. Those who worked with him during this period often noted his professionalism and lack of entitlement. He wasn't chasing stardom so much as building competence. That distinction mattered. When opportunity finally arrived, he was ready not just to perform, but to sustain a career without losing himself in it. Magnum P.Y. and the Weight of Sudden Fame. Everything changed in 1980 when Tom Selleck was cast as Thomas Magnum in Magnum P. Almost overnight, he became a global star. The role captured audiences not just because of the Hawaiian setting or iconic mustache, but because Selleck brought depth and humanity to a character who balanced humor with vulnerability. Magnum was charming but wounded, confident yet introspective, and those contradictions made him feel real. The show ran for 8 seasons, earning Selleck an Emmy and cementing his place in television history. Yet fame arrived with consequences. Long hours, public scrutiny, and constant expectations reshaped his daily life. Selleck has often acknowledged that this period was both exhilarating and overwhelming. Success came fast, leaving little room for emotional adjustment. Rather than leaning fully into celebrity culture, he remained cautious, aware that popularity could disappear as quickly as it arrived. That awareness influenced how he approached relationships, privacy, and the choices he made once the spotlight burned brightest. Film roles and a refusal to be defined. At the height of his television success, Selleck made a deliberate effort to expand beyond a single image. He transitioned into film, choosing roles that allowed him to explore different sides of his screen presence. 3 Men and a Baby showcased his warmth and comedic timing, becoming one of the highest-grossing films of the 1980s, while projects like Quigley Down Under and Mr. Baseball highlighted his affinity for characters rooted in integrity and quiet strength. Westerns, in particular, suited him. His understated acting style and commanding physical presence evoked classic Hollywood without imitation. Selleck was never interested in chasing trends. Instead, he favored longevity, choosing parts that aligned with his values rather than quick relevance. This careful approach helped him avoid the pitfalls that often follow sudden fame. By the time many of his contemporaries struggled to reinvent themselves, Selleck had already built a career based on consistency, professionalism, and trust with audiences who appreciated authenticity over spectacle, family, commitment, and chosen responsibility. Away from the screen, Tom Selleck's personal life reflected a deep commitment to responsibility and family. He married actress Jacqueline Ray in 1971 during a period when his career was still uncertain. One of the most meaningful decisions of his life came when he adopted her son, Kevin, choosing fully and intentionally to become a father. That bond endured beyond the marriage, underscoring Selleck's belief that family is defined by presence and care, not circumstance. Even as his career grew more demanding, he remained invested in being a steady figure in his son's life. Kevin later found success as a musician, forging his own path away from acting. Selleck has always spoken with quiet pride about that independence. These years shaped how he viewed success. Fame mattered less than showing up for the people who depended on him. That perspective would later influence one of the most defining choices of his life: love, privacy, and a deliberate life choice. In 1987, Tom Selleck married Jilly Joan Mack, an English actress and dancer he met while she was performing in Cats in London. Their relationship marked a turning point. At the height of his fame, Selleck made a conscious decision to protect his private life rather than expose it to constant attention. When their daughter Hannah was born in 1988, that commitment deepened. Selleck famously stepped back from career momentum, choosing to spend more time at home during her formative years. It was an unusual move in an industry that often rewards constant visibility, but one that reflected his priorities. Hannah grew up largely outside the spotlight and later found her own success as a competitive equestrian. For Selleck, this chapter reaffirmed a belief he had carried since his early years. A meaningful life requires balance. Career success is fleeting, but family presence leaves lasting impact. Later, career, depth, authority, and reflection. As he matured, Selleck embraced roles that mirrored his own evolving perspective. His portrayal of Jesse Stone in a series of television films allowed him to explore themes of loneliness, morality, and quiet resilience with remarkable subtlety. Later, as Frank Reagan on Blue Bloods, he became a symbol of principled leadership and moral steadiness. These roles resonated with audiences because they felt earned. Selleck wasn't performing authority. He embodied it through restraint and conviction. By this stage of his career, he no longer needed to prove anything. Instead, he focused on telling stories that mattered to him, often collaborating closely on character development. His work during these years demonstrated that longevity in Hollywood is not about reinvention for its own sake, but about growth with integrity. Viewers responded not just to the characters, but to the sense that the man portraying them had lived enough to understand their complexity. Sally Field and the question of timing. Over the years, Tom Selleck has occasionally been asked about relationships from his early career, including his brief connection with actress Sally Field during the late 1970s. He has always addressed the subject with care, emphasizing respect rather than revelation. Both were navigating transitional moments, professionally and personally, and their paths crossed during a period of change. Selleck has never framed their connection as a lost great romance, but rather as a meaningful chapter shaped by timing. He has spoken warmly of Field's intelligence, authenticity, and strength, qualities he admired then and continues to respect now. There was no scandal, no dramatic ending, just two people moving forward in different directions as their lives accelerated. In an industry often obsessed with permanence, Selleck's reflections offer a quieter truth. Not every connection is meant to last forever to be valuable. Some simply mark who you were at a moment in time. Perspective at 80. Gratitude over regret. Now in his later years, Tom Selleck speaks less about achievements and more about gratitude. Looking back, he doesn't frame his life through missed opportunities or unresolved what-ifs. Instead, he acknowledges that each chapter, successful or uncertain, shaped the person he became. His reflections on past relationships, including those that were brief, are marked by appreciation rather than nostalgia. Fame came, evolved, and eventually settled into something quieter and more sustainable. What remains constant is his belief in showing up fully, choosing responsibility, and valuing authenticity over illusion. At 80, Selleck's legacy is not defined by a single role or romance, but by consistency of character. In a business built on image, he built trust. In a culture that rewards excess, he chose restraint. And in looking back, he doesn't claim to reveal hidden truths, only a simple one. A life well lived is measured not by headlines, but by the care you give and the balance you keep.